Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. It's Veterans Day weekend, and this weekend especially, I learned the hard way that you can love your job, but your job will not always love you back 100%. What do I mean by that? I moved to Phoenix a little bit over 2 years ago, and I have yet to make a serious friend over here in the Phoenix area. And I haven't gone on a serious date either. And so I kind of fell in love with my job. And I kind of treated my job as a companion almost. I teach at two different community colleges, and the students have Veterans Day off. And I feel like a lover scorned because I don't have anything to do this weekend. And I take lithium orotate as it is. I have some mental health issues, and I've been taking a large amount of it. I normally average 20 milligrams a day, but last couple of days I've been taking 150 milligrams a day, and I've been also using a lot of pseudoephedrine, uh, and that's how my job loves me back for all the love that I pour into it the rest of the year. And what do I take away from this? Well, the next time something happens, I'm not going to risk my life at my job anymore. So, for example, it didn't happen here in Phoenix, obviously, but when I was living in Seattle, sometimes during the winter time, we had really bad winter storms, and I often showed up to work. I was working at a tutoring center. Most of my students didn't live that far, so they actually could show up. Me and a bunch of my colleagues live quite far away from the downtown Bellevue area. We're not that privileged, right? And I would show up, and a lot of times my colleagues wouldn't show up. The center would be chaotic. And one time I showed up there during a winter storm, maybe it was just after a winter storm. Now we were back to normal. I was teaching the student AP Physics. He's 17 years old or something like that. And I wanted to give him an example, and I asked him if he had ever driven a car because I wanted to describe some physics examples. And it would have been one thing if he had just said no, but then he went on to boast about why would he need to drive? He lives so close away. And this after I had just risked my life not that long ago to come in when none of my colleagues wanted to come to tutor him, and now he's boasting about how useless driving is. And it just goes to show that as much as you might love that particular job, I didn't love as much as my job here at the college. But even then, it just goes to show that the job didn't love me back, right? Even a couple weeks ago, right? I was mentally messed up, just like I am today, and I didn't feel comfortable driving to work. I was heavily distracted. I was getting into multiple near miss accidents every day, and I talked to a bunch of my colleagues to see if anybody carpooled or something. I couldn't find anything couldn't find anybody to drive me to work. And then I would go to work anyway because I love all of my students, right? I'd risk my life for them. And then I would see my colleagues doing anything except for helping a colleague, goofing around, surfing the web, chit-chatting, even talking behind my back sometimes, maybe not that extreme, but you get the idea. Anything other than drive me to work. And it just goes to show next time I have a colleague who asks me for help, maybe to not go so far for that, right? The other thing I want to mention is that at my current job, I don't like the kind of vacation policy they have. It's too flexible to the point that you almost don't want to take a day off because um, I know I have a bunch of colleagues who have taken time off, but it's so flexible that it could be people are going to judge what you do with your time off, right? If we get 10 days, even if we only get 5 days off a week, you know that number you're shooting for, and you don't have to feel guilty about using them, right? Especially if they also expire, right? But when it's open ended, it's like, gee, are you going to think that what I'm doing with my time is just like I was judging my colleagues for for chit chatting instead of driving me to work, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.